evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to the exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's short scene will take place in the Beaumont Hospital as Dr. Michael Brightman makes his way into the accident and emergency centre that is the way that most doctors will come into this particular hospital from the parking garage in order to check certain facts, cross certain T's and dot certain I's, and try to come to understand the mystery that is brewing.
All right, so Michael will, of course, be entering. By the way, he is, for public records, he is Michael Brightman the Fourth.
Okay.
As the original Michael Brightman was born back during the Civil War, so wouldn't fit. He is, long. I keep forgetting this mention. Long history of academic excellence and a focus on zoological biology in the family. Yay!
Mm-hmm.
So
I take it that you are here in your capacity as an MD.
I'm as an MD and as a doctor of genetics.
Okay.
So, which was the third doctorate. It's biology, zoology, genetics, masters in archaeology, in anthropology, and then a bachelor's in psychology, plus his MD. So, he is going to head on in, make sure that his credentials are verified as he heads it. I thought we were going to St. James Hospital.
Oh, yes, we are. My apologies. I've mixed up hospital, St. James Hospital.
It's no problem. He will head inside and he will walk up to the nurse on shift and say, Dr. Michael Brightman, my access has been verified. I need to see some of the test results from these so-called miraculous patients. I've been asked to do a genetic workup.
Certainly, Doctor. One moment, please. You'll see her hands fly over the keys with that ominous clack, clack, clacking noise as keys are pressed. She looks up and just says, "Yes, Doctor, everything appears to be in order. Would you like me to? I can get you set up in the genetics lab, and I can have the blood samples brought down to you if you'd like."
I would appreciate that. Thank you. Um, Out of curiosity, I'm sure I could probably find this going through my records, but you would probably know better. Would probably be easier to ask you. Do all these patients have a commonality?
I don't know what you mean, sir.
Shared physician,
No,
shared floor.
they were well, many of them were on the to of all the so-called quote unquote miracle cases. There have been four. Two of them are located on this floor, and two of them are located on the third floor, sir. And no,
And neither of them share a physician.
they didn't share the same consulting physician. No, you have to understand that they were on. We had two cases of leukemia, and we had one case of late onset fungal meningitis, and one case of one case of pulmonary edema.
All
All
very threatening. How advanced were the leukemia cases?
they were
If
stage
they,
three, and they would.
no, nothing. I was gonna say something out of character, but go ahead.
They were stage three terminal. This is why it's such a big deal, sir.
Yes, and that's why they called in a genetic specialist. So, um, I'll go ahead and head down to the genetics lab if you want to bring those samples down, please.
That's fine, sir.
All right. I'm assuming I know where to go.
Yeah.
Okay. I will head to the genetics lab, make sure all the cameras are on because I'm sure they're going to want all this documented. I'm going to make sure that the equipment's running perfectly. I'll run a couple of sample tests through the extrapolator, and I'm going to check to make sure that the what's it called? The genetic decoder is running properly. The big computer that they use to basically scan every line of data is every genetic marker as if it were a line of data.
So she will, after a couple of minutes, she will bring in the blood, and she will leave it down. It is in a series of small petri dishes that have been that have been sealed against atmosphere, and the blood is being held in a saline compound because you don't actually need that much of it for what it is you
Right.
want to do. As she leaves, this room is monitored by two security cameras, but there's a very obvious dead spot where the security cameras can't see that is located just next to the door and in a corner. And you will hear coming from the corner, "Oh, well, I think she's a nice lady."
Michael will nod his head, and he will use nah sign because he doesn't want to appear to be talking to thin air. To say back, she is. Can you do me a favor and verify the producer of those samples?
He blinks twice before he nods, and as you go back to your work, you'll see him disappear.
Okay. I'll take the first sample and I will place it into the extrapolator and start running the test.
Cool, make me an intelligence technology test.
I don't think technology is an ability. Oh wait, I do have technology. I couldn't remember if that was an ability that we get in this game or not. Intelligence tech 5 dice difficulty. Is it standard diff?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I'm going to spend a willpower to redo that roll.
Okay.
That's a lot better. 3 successes.
Okay. Actually, it's 2 successes because it increases the difficulty by +1.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the machine will whir to life, and you will see it begin its analyzing of the blood as you peer in through an incredibly powerful microscope in order to observe the blood as it's being worked on. It immediately becomes apparent to you as this process will take about half an hour or so in order for you to reach the conclusion. But the first blood sample is indeed how to phrase it, saturated with testosterone, the same chemical you found in the blood of the unnamed Pentex worker.
Okay. I'm assuming I'm going to find the same thing in each sample I run through, or was that what you were giving me the 30 minutes for, was to run through all the samples?
No, realistically, that was to run through one sample because this is not a quick process. But if you run through another one, that'll take you about an hour's work total. I'll let you use the same result. You will find the exact same concentration.
Okay. The results of my initial test through the equipment at Trinity, did it tell me whether or not it was a synthetic enzyme or if it was a naturally occurring
it
enzyme?
appeared to be naturally occurring in the blood of that individual.
All right. If I'm to, how long would it take me to run the same test on the 2 samples that showed evidence of the testosterone?
Another hour.
Okay. Do you want me to make a science roll?
Yeah, make me an intelligence science roll. This is going to be difficulty 7.
All right. I'm going to spend a willpower on this.
Okay.
This is an important one. No botch, thanks to that willpower, but oh my god, have you ever seen such an ugly roll on a 9 dice roll?
Ouch. That is sad. Though you do still get the 1 success. You think that this is also naturally occurring, but you aren't exactly sure. It could be.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. There's. Sorry, Brett in real life is racking his genetics knowledge from like 12 years ago. No, longer than that. 22 years ago. Yes, I'm that old. There is an additive I can add, like a tracer in the bloodstream, to attach to synthetic genetic markers. Can I do that with the samples I have now, or would that risk damaging the samples?
You would destroy the samples.
That's what I thought. I would have to do I would have to do it on the actual patient themselves, and they're not going to let me close to the patient since I'm here as a genetic specialist.
For the record, at a certain point during your work, Sketcher will have returned. He has donned the lab coat, and you can tell that he probably is also unable to be seen for the cameras. You know it's him because of the way he talks, but he looks entirely different, and you don't have the obfuscate, and you don't have the auspex to pierce his obfuscate, obviously. So
Right.
he's also eating a donut.
Okay. He's going to look over at Sketcher and say, "Did you find out anything about the donors?"
They all came from the same grouping of blood that was drawn from Shah Pharmaceuticals, the same company that our friend worked for.
So that explains how they were exposed to it. My initial genetic tests on the sample that we took from the autopsy did show that in his blood it was naturally occurring, which means that he was genetically modified or genetically created with that effect underway.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like we have to do a more in-depth search into Shah Pharmaceuticals, but I don't have the influence to get inside. If we're going to do it, it's going to have to be strictly black bag.
Oh, Mr. Hennessy has a request for you.
Oh, yes, please, what is it?
He says, with the compounds that are located in this room, could you please synthesize him 3 separate syringes that contain 32 milligrams of hypertonic cycline, please?
Shouldn't be a problem. I'll set to work on that with my science skill.
That'll be medicine.
Medicine?
I'll give it to you. Yeah, because it's pharmacology.
Okay. What's my difficulty on that?
That is a standard diff.
Right, intelligence medicine. We'll spend a willpower because I didn't buy up my willpower for nothing. Four successes.
Okay, that is sufficient. He will not. Brett, while you're doing that, and I'll let your last roll stand. The compound he requested, cyclone canantracine, and 35 milligrams of it, if that's injected into a person, it is enough to basically bring on cardiac arrest very quickly. And he asked for 4 vials of it, or 4 injections of it.
I thought he asked for 3 of it.
4.
Okay, because I heard 3 initially, so you may have. Okay, so do I need to make a humanity check, or do I need to make a? I actually have specific flaws. I have soft-hearted. I have impatient. And I also have soft-hearted and impatient. Impatient being more. I also have obsessive compulsive disorder as far as the note-taking goes. So
soft-hearted will okay. He has asked for 4 ampules of something to get that will give somebody a lethal coronary event. You can assume he is asking for this because he is going to have Sketcher use it to kill these 4 people. So it's going to I think soft-hearted is a willpower roll.
Yeah. Is that based off temp or perm?
I
think I'm 3 now.
It's based off permanent willpower, and it's difficulty 8.
The reason why I was asking about the impatient was because could my character be so focused on his work that he doesn't even notice it?
Oh no. Yeah, definitely not with the flaw cocktail there, because you have okay. You will give them, but you know what is going to happen. You will be able, if you choose to give him the syringes, but will you is a very important question.
Right. You said it's difficulty 8.
Yeah. So roll down bones.
3 successes.
Yep, you are able to do it, but will you want to do it? These are two very different things.
You see this. Sketcher would see just absolute consternation on his face, like it's like he's being ripped apart inside because he is bound to do his duty, but he is also bound by certain oaths he has taken. He'll take the 4 syringes and he will place them into a secure sample case
Mhm.
and then close them. And he'll say, Sketcher, is Hennessy making you do this?
No.
Do you know what this will do?
Mhm. Look, I'm not an idiot. But ultimately, these people shouldn't have lived. They've lived on borrowed time, and the very fact they are is now coming really, really close to a masquerade breach. And if they search this hospital, there are things here we don't want them to find.
You'll see a nod of Michael's head, and you'll say, in my oath to the Camarilla and as primogen of our clan is the only reason why I'm doing this. Do you understand that?
Mhm. We all have our orders. I don't like doing this, but ultimately, as I said, we have to protect the clan.
He will nod his head and he will hand over the sample case. This should get you past any prying eyes until you get into the rooms. The syringe will look like a standard inoculant, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. You'll have to inject them directly into the IV. You can't risk injecting them into the person's arm directly.
I know. I understand. All right, Brett. We are now going to make 4 humanity tests.
Fuck me.
I know, right? Because you have nice, high, plump, juicy humanity, don't you?
Yeah. He's going to say one thing before he makes these rolls.
Mhm.
He's going to say, "You are a good Nosferatu."
So,
So I'm trying to remember. I have to make conscience checks.
yeah. What is your willpower currently? Or not willpower?
Willpower
What's your
currently
humanity?
5.
What is your humanity currently? Sorry.
7.
Okay. You have essentially just handed somebody a murder weapon with the intention of murder. So that is a major breach. So I'm going to say it may get progressively easier depending on how these go. So for the first one, until you fail, difficulty 8.
I can't willpower these if I remember correctly.
No, you can't, unfortunately.
0 successes.
Boom, down goes 1 humanity. The next one's going to be difficulty 7.
Now remind me, is this a conscience loss as well, or is it just a
No,
humanity loss?
that's only on a botch.
Okay. 1 success.
Okay, you managed to stave it off. Another one
Oh
at the
wait,
same.
you said my difficulty was 7?
Yes.
That's 2 successes then.
Okay, another one at the same difficulty.
2 successes.
Nice. And one last one at the same.
2 successes. Both of them 10s. Oh my god.
Okay, so yeah, you will drop to humanity 6. You feel the beast claw inside you as something within you dies and is consumed, gone, ripped away. You are vehemently aware of this fact, but at the same time, you had your duty. You will not let it be said that when called upon, you did not do your duty.
Right. As I'm going through this, I'm actually going to tell, in a very low voice, I'm going to tell Sketcher, go No. He can see that there's like so much pain ripping through him right now.
Sketcher kind of cocks his head to the side. You sense he's going to say something, but he doesn't before he turns and walks out the door, closing behind him.
Question, will my mask hide if I'm crying tears of blood?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to grab the nearest dark piece of something, and I'm going to hold it in front of my face.
Okay.
Because if losing the humanity doesn't make me cry, winning those other three chops does.
Yeah, you feel pretty vehemently terrible right about now. And screaming at a concrete moon. At this point, we will end our very short scene. So thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another Scene in Darkness in Dublin. Have a pleasant evening.